on the way home this week. Every day just chipping away at it, driving a little bit and parking in some fun towns. I'll give you the lay of the land here real quick. We are in Golden, Colorado today. Spent the weekend in this area. You see all those tubers, AJ? All those people bringing their tubes up and down the river. There's this beautiful sort of riverfront here, and I don't know how long it is. It must be 2 or 3 miles. And people just either rent or buy, like we did, these little tubes, and you just walk all the way up to the top of the river and float down until you're ready to get out. But it's a pretty fun thing to do here. There's only one problem with that, AJ, at my age. Oh, we'll get to that stuff in a minute. Right now, let's go to New York City with an update on the explosive device / fire outside the federal building there. We'll start hot with some live breaking news. Here we go.
Jamie McDonald, the Deputy United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Today, just before 9 a.m., a man by the name of Andrew Arabaca, A-R-R-A-B-A-C-A, arrived at 26 Federal Plaza, just behind us on Worth Street, at the employee entrance to the building, where he ignited gasoline. He poured gasoline onto the ground and ignited it with a lighter and an incendiary device. That device was a firework, a large firework in a canister. That proceeded to catch on fire, pretty big flame as you've seen on the internet. He then pulled out an airsoft rifle and fired 5 to 7 pellets, if you will, in the direction of 26 Federal Plaza. At that time, Federal Protective Services, 2 officers, a gray suit, a contractor with Allied that is employed to guard this building, and those 3 people and the 2 officers standing behind me in the blue shirts are the officers that intervened and took Mr. Arabaca into custody. Well, he had him on the ground. An FBI agent jumped in and they put handcuffs on him and took him in the building. He is currently in custody and he has been interviewed. Arabaca is a former United States Army soldier. He was enlisted for approximately 4 years, serving from 2001 to 2005. He was a repairman or mechanic on Patriot missile systems. He is 43 years old. There were injuries in this. 3 people were injured, minor injuries, 1 civilian and 2 government employees. Right now, our evidence response team is out working with NYPD and our New York Joint Terrorism Task Force to collect evidence, to conduct interviews. We have located a vehicle of Mr. Arabaca's. We have seized that vehicle. We are procuring or obtaining a search warrant. Mr. Arabaca came armed with bad intentions. I will say that 26 Federal Plaza has long been a target of extremists, of terrorists, and today the extremism was brought here. The building was attacked. Mr. Arabaca was looking to injure people and harm people. He had 2 axes, a hammer, a machete, and 3 knives, fixed blade knives. He had, as I said earlier, 6 incendiary devices or fireworks, and he had some other destructive items. Going forward today, like I said, we'll do more interviews, we'll collect more evidence, and we will, and I'll leave to Mr. McDonald to talk about charges. We take this very seriously. On his cart, he had a cart. He had anti-ICE literature on it. When he was being arrested, he yelled derogatory terms to ICE, used bad words, obviously. He is an anti-American, anti-government extremist. We know that from what he said. We know that from what he has said post-arrest. And we know that from what his actions that he tried to take today. So I will turn it over to Police Commissioner Tisch.
Thank you, Jim. Good afternoon. I am here to provide some additional details about this morning's incident outside of 26 Federal Plaza. This remains an active investigation, and the information that we have is still being gathered and is subject to change. At approximately 8:30 this morning, a call came in to New York City's 911 call center that there was an active shooter outside of 26 Federal Plaza in Lower Manhattan. 2 additional calls in the subsequent minutes reported an explosion and a male setting off fireworks at the location. Units from NYPD's 5th Precinct responded within 2 minutes of the first 911 call, and by the time they were on scene, the suspect had already been taken into custody by federal officers. The suspect has been identified, as you just heard, as Andrew Arabaka, 43 years old, of Poughkeepsie. He is believed to be a U.S. Army veteran. His last known address was up in Harlem. His vehicle, a black Toyota RAV4, was located parked in the vicinity of West 124th Street and Broadway, and that vehicle is subject to search pending a search warrant. The entire incident unfolded in view of an NYPD camera positioned on the southwest corner of Worth Street and Broadway. Video and witness statements describe the suspect's actions as follows. At approximately 8:30 a.m., Mr. Arabaka arrived at Worth Street and Lafayette Street in front of 26 Federal Plaza. Once he arrives, he ignites a bundle of what appears to be fireworks, which begin to smoke. He then goes back into his cart and takes out an airsoft rifle and proceeds to brandish it, and he appears to fire several pellets from the airsoft rifle. Next, he pulls out an orange bucket from his cart and runs towards the bushes along the building line. He dumps the contents of the bucket, an incendiary liquid, between two sets of bushes along the perimeter of this property and ignites a fire. Federal agents and officers then run up to the subject, subdue him, and take him into federal custody. On the scene was recovered, among other things, 2 airsoft rifles and the container with the flammable liquid. Also affixed to the suspect's cart was a sign reading "Ice off our streets." During the incident, the suspect was wearing a military-style helmet. This incident occurred along federal property, and the NYPD is supporting the federal government in their investigations. Charges are yet to be filed. Our work with the Joint Terrorism Task Force and the Southern District of New York is critical to keeping our city safe, and I commend the federal agents and contractors and officers who responded to the threat this morning. Now I'm going to turn it over to Deputy United States Attorney Jamie McDonald.
Thank you. I'm Jamie McDonald, the Deputy United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York. As you can see, we're here in response to an incident this morning that took place just behind us here at the Jacob K. Javits Center, which houses dozens of federal agencies and thousands of federal employees. I want to thank the work of our law enforcement partners whose rapid response led to the neutralization of the threat and the immediate turn to evidence collection and investigation. Our office, the Southern District of New York, led by the National Security Unit and the General Crimes Units, are working closely with the FBI, the NYPD, FPS, and others to investigate this matter. As you've heard, one individual has been taken into custody. Our investigation is continuing, and we will keep the press and the public updated on charges. Thank you.
Our time for a few on-topic questions. Which people hold on? In the corner.
Are you investigating this as a possible act?
We're collecting the evidence, and we know.
All right, so we'll just bring it back here for now. I think we got the gist of everything. That's a pretty complete story. Remember the days when we'd have these? This is basically a terrorism incident, and we'd have an incident like this, and they'd pretend for days they didn't know the motivation, especially if it didn't fit a certain narrative. And it's refreshing for them to just come out and say what we all knew and what we saw on that video today, that this nut job, this guy, his passion and his emotional disturbance over, I guess, the ICE situation is only exceeded by his stupidity. This is one of the dumbest attacks I've ever seen. Have y'all seen the overhead video? This idiot walks up with, I guess, a bucket, it looks like maybe a Home Depot bucket because it's orange, and they sell these buckets for a couple bucks, and I've got 100 of them, and he's got it full of gas. He just went to a gas station, took a bucket, poured it on the steps of concrete steps outside a federal building, and then started firing an airsoft. AJ, do you know what an airsoft rifle is? That may scare some bedwetting liberals that listen that have the Kool-Aid hair. those people are probably heard rifle. Oh, we need to go for gun bans. I'm sorry, that's a toy. It shoots a plastic pellet. You ever been shot by one of them?
It's not fun, but yeah.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
It stings. My boys got all into these when they were little teenagers, and I had to eventually get them to quit because they started shooting each other. But it shoots a plastic pellet that is not lethal in any way. I guess you could shoot somebody in the eye, and maybe they've gotten more sophisticated since those days. So he has a toy gun, and he's got a 5-gallon bucket full of, I assume it was full, of gas. He throws a firework in there. I guess he thought it would explode. This guy's an idiot. But he Rambo'd up, and he brought, what did they say, a hammer and a machete and a couple of knives. He was ready for battle. But, I mean, he throws, I guess the fire was hotter than he anticipated. You ever seen somebody light a grill that doesn't know what the hell they're doing? And it goes, and then their eyebrows get burned off, and then they run? That's what he did. I mean, this dude singed his face, takes off running, and immediately tackled by ample security around that federal building in New York City. There's going to be federal agents close by, which you saw at all times. There are a lot of federal agencies. Some people call this Federal Square in New York City. It's just a lot of the federal presence in New York is in this particular area. So, I mean, I guess if you consider it a protest, he got attention for his weird cause. And if you think about what they're protesting the laws of this country. ICE isn't just making up laws and making up their rules as they go. They're enforcing laws imposed by the people that we elect to write laws. So they don't like the laws, and they go and do stupid stuff like this. The violence of the American left continues today with this act. I can't say that word. I can't say it. Can I, AJ? No, I'll get in trouble. But y'all know what y'all heard.
I got the dumb button.
Y'all heard it in your head when I said this act. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, so they got him. He's a nut job, and on we go. This is back to Rubio's speech the other day that I implored people to watch. This stuff's on the march. This craziness being flamed up by social media apps and algorithms and dumbasses talking to each other. One of the funniest things I've heard of late in terms of political commentary, and it used to be our comedians were the place a lot of America could get some truth before they got all scared, because they look at the human condition. And the worst thing about this kind of reinforcement of stupidity is social media. It used to be idiots like this lived in a small world. They lived around family and friends that said, "Shut up, Ahmed, you don't know what you're talking about," or whatever this dude's name was. You're an idiot. And he'd get shamed into keeping silent. But these platforms are giving stupid people a community of other stupid people where they reinforce each other, and then you get this kind of idiocy. So thank God there were some people hurt, but no one was killed in this attack. But it needs to be treated as seriously as if he took the whole building down, because I've said it over and over. Sorry, I had to go launch in on a soapbox. We'll get into the fun stuff later. But I've said it over and over. If we had woken up on 9/12 in 2001 and you had heard a story, let's say the hijackers all got caught. The first 3 got caught boarding the plane. The plot was discovered. Nothing happened. You would have woken up that day to hearing this. A bunch of students that overstayed their visas were going to hijack planes with box cutters and bring down buildings. You would have laughed a snot bubble thinking that was even possible, and we'd have gone on with our day. The world would be a different place, but they pulled it off. Low tech, and they killed thousands of people. They're constantly in motion. And this wasn't an Islamic attack, but all attacks against our way of life should be put in the same category, and we've got to start taking this stuff very, very seriously. I was pleased to hear the FBI come out and give some serious details, so we weren't left floundering like we were for years. I mean, some of this stuff started, especially during the Obama administration, when he wouldn't even admit ISIS was a threat or that Islamic terrorism was, they wouldn't even call it terrorism, much less Islamic terrorism. But now we've got serious people in charge, and they're out there stopping bad guys, and this guy was a clear bad guy. But he made headlines today, and now we're having to talk about it. All right, let's get the show going. Live in Golden, Colorado. More on that and that location, and I'll get caught up with AJ. He and I had just gotten started with the show, and then all of a sudden we're dealing with this heavy stuff. Updates on a ton of stories today, too. It's been a very active Monday. Alabama Gold Refinery bringing you the show this hour. That's where you can go do some gold trading, gold, silver, platinum. Let me show y'all something pretty while I'm talking. Gold, silver, platinum, all of these things are available to you at Alabama Gold Refinery. And you can buy, sell, or trade. It's a fair place. It's a secure place to go in and out with all your valuables or with your cash. And Steve's just, again, I say it every time, but, I feel like I understand this stuff till I talk to Steve. And then I'm learning when I talk to Steve because this is his business. This is what he does, and they do it so well. It's AGR, Alabama Gold Refinery. They're downtown Homewood, which is right smack in the middle of our coverage area, so easy to find, easy to get to. It's Alabama Gold Refinery, AGR, AlabamaGoldRefinery.com on 29th, across from the Regions Bank in Homewood. Back here in a minute on the road from Golden, Colorado in just a minute. Stay tuned. All right, at 224, Leland Live, talking 99.5. Distinctive Pools bringing you the show this hour. It ought to be easy to sell a pool in this kind of weather, man. Wouldn't it be nice to just go out there and splash when you're hot, or even night? I love a night swim. This time of year, you can pull that off. The cool thing about Distinctive Pools is they do a whole lot more than just pools. They build hardscape features like outdoor kitchens, and they'll do outdoor fireplaces and sort of outdoor living rooms that tie in with the pool if you want to do all that. That gives you use of it all year. You got the aesthetic of the pool and the lighting features, and it's out there glowing in the fall. Man, football season's 47 days away, I read somewhere. Here comes fall. Believe it or not, it'll be here before you know it, and we'll be outside. We're outdoor people. It's my favorite time of year to be outside. And Distinctive Pools is ready to come get this project started for you. I bet you could get it done by then, almost. Talk to Gary and his team. They're just best, and it starts with proper design. They're going to tell you what'll fit. They're going to, not just your budget, but your space. It's got to look right. It's got to sit there right. It's got to be in the right place. And when they're done, you'll have something beautiful you can show off for a long time. DistinctivePools.com. DistinctivePools.com. Y'all reach out to that team and let them come draw in the dirt with you and start dreaming a little bit. DistinctivePools.com. All right, AJ, I'm going to reset where we are as we got into that for a second. So in Golden, Colorado, my whole life, I would always hear the Coors Beer commercials. They'd go Coors Beer Company, or what would they call it? Adolph Coors Company, Golden, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and you know a lot about this area of the world, but it's a little suburb in Denver. It's kind of in Denver, maybe about 20 miles out from downtown. You could see downtown from here. And just a beautiful spot in the world. And so the Coors plant dominates. I mean, they've got this beautiful downtown, and that thing is just this big ominous plant with all these towers, and of course this huge mural on the side of the building. But it's kind of what put this place on the map. But a really cool place. And what they do here, in addition to whatever else, I mean, making beer, they've got this beautiful little creek. It's called Clear Creek. Runs right through the middle of town. There's a tighter shot of it. In a minute, you'll see some tubers come by. And that thing's real low because they've had so much drought out here. They didn't get as much snow in the American West last year as normal, so the creeks are a little bit low. But that doesn't stop the tubers. And yesterday, if you'd taken a look at this creek, there was a parade. I mean, there must have been 1,000 people doing the tube thing. So guess what I did, AJ? Guess what I did?
What did you do?
I had to do it too. So I took the bonus kid, and he and I were fired up, and we did a couple of long runs on it. But I will go ahead and tell you, as fat as I am and as low as that water is, I was bumping on some rocks, son. I was bumping some rocks with my butt yesterday.
So you was like a ping pong ball.
Yeah, he was like, "What's the problem?" I was like, "Because I rate 3 times what you do, and I'm hitting rocks." I ran past this guy, this big old dude. I said, "Man, are you hitting rocks?" He goes, "Man, I weigh 315. What do you think?" And so, because the water, there they go. You see them kind of cruising on by. It's a whole lot of fun. That water's ice cold because it's mountain water. And but it's just what they do here. It's a really neat feature. It's a beautiful little town. But my butt is, AJ, I feel like I was in a butt kicking contest, and I was the butt. I was the recipient, the judge butt. I'm sore. And then, of course, over the weekend, I had to go to Red Rocks, which is why we passed through here. Mainly, we just want to see the venue at night when it's all lit up, and just happened to be that String Cheese Incident is playing. For those of you that don't know, it's one of these sort of hippie jam bands. So, AJ, can you imagine the people watching out here in Denver, Colorado, where a certain substance has been legal for a long time, a jam band, and in that setting of Red Rocks? And the thing is, I didn't see anything. I didn't smell anything or see anything until the first note started. When the band, I guess there's some etiquette involved. And as soon as the band fired up, it was like, dude, why'd they even bring a fog machine?
Right.
Like they don't need the fog machine on the stage.
I don't think that was a fog machine. I thought it was just a fan that was just blowing all the smoke away from the singers.
So we get in there, you know, I kind of expected it, but it wasn't that bad. It's just a lot of white folk that don't have rhythm just jamming their minds off. One girl, I swear, was doing Tai Chi. She was into the music, man. She was doing like the Tai Chi moves and spinning and stinking. And so, but that's an excellent band, by the way. I've gotten a little more into them since I heard them live. So,
but I'm gonna tell you this: when I guess when they were high, they just felt like the music was just flowing through them, so they weren't in rhythm in their own mind. Now, what their body was doing was completely different from what they were envisioning within themselves.
Oh, they don't care. Nobody cared. I guess that's the thing. But after about 2 songs, we decided, okay, we've seen it. We need to jet because we had a kid with us. And but it wasn't that bad. It was a very polite group of people. What a cool place, though, if you ever get a chance to go to see any kind of show at Red Rocks. It's probably no, I'm not even going to say probably. I think it's the most beautiful music venue in all of the United States, maybe the world. All right, so here we are in Golden. Back in a minute. Leland Live. Yeah, buddy. Crocker Moving Services, next up here on the show, Eric Crocker's company. They'll help you get stuff moved, whether you're just going a little ways or you're going a long ways. Crocker can help you with it. I love the 2-hour minimum. I try to remember to tell you about that in every ad, because for most of us, I mean, I'm not planning on any kind of big-time move. You never know in life, but just needing them for some project, just to move a few things or a small move, or you get the heavy stuff and we'll get all the loose stuff, is such a good, efficient way to do it. And they handle the stuff you don't want to deal with and you don't want to drop, and you can handle the lamps and the skid mark underwear and the art and the rugs or whatever else. Or they'll come pack up your whole house and take you to Idaho. I mean, they can do all of it. Eric runs a tight company. They're so good at their scheduling, and I'm impressed by their estimating. You can pretty much describe what you've got, your rooms, and by the time they estimate, they're pretty good at telling you how long it's going to take them and sticking to that, so you can have some reasonable expectation of what it's going to cost. And so the 2-hour minimum is just, for 2 hours of their time minimum, they're going to come out and knock it out for you and send as many personnel or trucks as is needed. Eric's a great guy, a Marine and a good dude, runs a tight ship. It's CrockerMovingServices.com if you want anything moved, CrockerMovingServices.com. All right, let's deal with a couple of other things. Still got to get into the Iran situation. I'm probably in a minute or two, we're going to see that would be in our 10th day of bombing. Who knows, but it doesn't look like that bombing campaign is going to be suspended anytime soon. But when that happens, and we'll get you caught up on that too. But the other thing that's making news is a weather phenomenon in the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. Excuse me, I said it. Gulf of America, and I think this would be the named storm Bertha. Now, earlier, forecasters said that this thing was probably going to be a named storm by sometime today. The problem is, as soon as it gets going, it's going to get flamed out. I saw one forecaster describe it as it's like blowing a candle out because of there's some upper level winds. They're just going to cut the top off the thing. But right now, they've got it tracked to go due west and head toward Texas. Not a major flooding event at present, but mainly because it's going to get chopped up. But a couple of 3 inches of rain on the coast. There were some models that had some of that coming toward Birmingham and toward Alabama, but I haven't seen any validation of that. And this is that same system we were talking about last week they thought was going to go the other way. And it looked like it could develop and then head into the Big Bend area of Florida, but now they're taking it in the opposite direction. It took longer to form. And so any updates on that this afternoon, we'll keep you up posted on that as well. As we continue on here on the road from Golden, Colorado, beautiful place in the country, and we continue to move east and south until we get back to Sweet Home, Alabama. 545-9950 is the phone number if you want to get in on the show. Come on. We'll put you on the radio. Let's deal with the Iran situation real quick. So continued bombing. We've had 9 days in a row now of bombing. Of course, this is after 2 American personnel were killed and several others injured in some missile attacks that have been emanating out of Iran. So we're now going after even deeper targets, command and control structures, communication towers, some rail and bridge infrastructure that we've begun targeting. And apparently there have been a couple of high-level meetings in the White House today alone to update and adjust and reassess the strategy. The timeline, and I was listening to, I think it was this General Keane that comes on Fox all the time. I'm just consuming the news this morning, and I want to give attribution, but I'm not exactly sure where I heard these statistics. But the bombing campaign began, when we began in earnest the bombing campaign, it was 39 days, and it stayed within that envelope of the War Powers Act and how a president can deploy troops and use military action. And then they got to the negotiating table. And so this negotiation, this back and forth, now there have been fits and starts and some side attacks and tit-for-tat stuff, but that was 90 days of an attempt at diplomacy. Our side, I guess all sides, got a signed deal out of it. I mean, it was this memorandum of understanding. And now we see the lack of seriousness and the worth of any kind of deal, all the way back to Obama's deal. You just can't make a deal with these people. They don't deal. They're not honest. They're not straightforward. It's a thuggish theocracy of a regime that took power in 1979. They weren't elected. The people didn't ask for it. They seized power, killed their opponents, ran off a bunch of exiles who scattered diasporically all over the world. And then, of course, these people would love to go back and be part of their own country and their own heritage again. But since 1979, these nuts have controlled the place. And now they're so internalized, I don't know that you can bomb them out. I think it's going to take a whole nother level on the ground, perhaps with some of the Arab partners that also want this menace to go away. So the bombing campaign, it appears, is going to resume probably tonight. Usually about the time we hit the air is when we'll suddenly start the a continued round of bombing. And I get lost in the targeting, to be honest with you. There's a lot to keep up with. The markets are primarily, every day when we assess the war situation, then we assess the market's reaction. The Dow, for example, today started up. And now it's down as we head toward the close, about 0.5%. NASDAQ's up. They're not freaking out the way some thought. And then, of course, there's the oil markets. Oil is continuing to escalate, but it's not spiking. And I'm not trying to put sunshine on it. I'm just saying Iran's goal all along is to continue to keep the talks disrupted so that they can manipulate the oil price, because that puts pressure on the world. It's not just us. It's not just the Trump administration or whoever the American president might be in the moment. Everybody in the world has to pay those prices. It's a worldwide commodity, and that means our allies are less likely to deal with us or help us if they can keep separation from countries over the price alone. And so, but the best thing we've done is just to cut them off and continue to cut them off. The economic blockade was working. It was a better strategy. It's what ultimately got them to the table. These people are, I mean, I don't mean the people of Iran, but this government, they're cockroaches is about the best metaphor. It just is. Because we always hear they can survive a nuclear fallout and they will still be here. And that little critter has been around since the dinosaurs or whatever. But it's kind of that way. They have anticipated being a violent culture with a violent ideology. They have anticipated enduring violence. And indeed, their worldview is longer than ours. Americans get upset because gas goes up $1, and we're ready to run for the hills. And these people are thinking in terms of millennia about control and civilizations. And that gives them an advantage to endure any kind of tense situation longer than sometimes the United States can. And I hate to say that about my own country, but y'all know it's true. Girl, you know it's true. Milli Vanilli wasn't the only one to say that. So that's right now, that's the most generic update. When we get further information coming across in the news cycle, of course, we'll have that for you too. So many things in the news cycle today, and even some stuff coming out of Alabama that's fascinating as well. So we've got all that covered for now. Let me talk to y'all about Lonnie's Furniture Company, because I'll take your cameras back outside and show you. That's a pretty little lake that's also part of this city complex over here in Golden. That's Lonnie's Furniture Company, of course, my furniture store. It has been for years. You know, I got a chance to sort of start over in life, and you got to look for opportunities. Had a brand new house and didn't have a lot of legacy furniture to pollute it with. And it's nice when you start over that way and you just want to make it yours, but I didn't know exactly what to do. But with the help of Lonnie's, I'm one of those kind of people that I don't like to shop at all. I really don't love it. And furniture can be really stressful because it's an expensive decision a lot of times, and you want it to be right. And so, but I know what I don't like. Sometimes I don't know what I want, but I know what I don't like. So I can walk in the store and go, nope, 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 not that. That's kind of how I started. But it was Arlene's help describing the home and how it should look, and then a few key pieces of advice, and everything kind of came together. And I really just believe in that. And I custom ordered because I wasn't in a hurry, and was able to order things in the sizes that I wanted. And you can do that too at Lonnie's. If you don't see exactly what you want, they can track it down for you or have it built. They've even got a Build-A-Bear workshop with Bassett, one of the best names in furniture, right over there in the corner when you come in, and they'll custom design whole living rooms or whatever it is you need right there with some amazing tools for you to get it exactly to the detail. You can design your own furniture if you're willing to wait on it. Now, if you don't want to wait and you're ready now, they've got an acre of furniture under one roof and an even more in their warehousing operation to bring to your house. And so gives you a lot of selection, excellent prices all the time. Every now and then listen out for deals. If they get certain truckloads in, Reggie will call me and they'll just put a deal on it. And so you'll want to listen out for those. Here, and I mentioned football earlier. Man, 47 days from now, You will not go wrong setting you up a football room. Everybody's got their own recliner. Got your big TV going, maybe 5 TVs. I don't know. Some of y'all get a little crazy during football season. And just make a day of it in your own environment there at home. A staycation for football season with your own comfortable Lazy Boy furniture from Lania's Furniture. They're up on I-65 on exit 280. People say, why do you say it like that? I don't want y'all to think I'm talking about Highway 280. It's exit 280. And then you head a little bit south on 31, and there you are. Tell them we said, hey, and I think we've got some plans for us to get up there live. I'd love to see y'all when we do that later on in a few weeks. Got to get home first, but love to come do that. Maybe we'll do that as a fall kickoff too. It's LaniusFurnitureCompany.com. With us for years, LAUNIUS, in case you want to go online, LaniusFurnitureCompany.com. All right, here we go again. 10 minutes to go in the first hour. Wow, we already got another news week on the way. All-American Metals next up here on the show. Can't wait to get home to my big metal building. I got stuff to do. I got summer projects that kind of got cut in half because we were on the road for so long. And I'm telling you, just if you're thinking about a project like this on your own land, on your own property, to have a good place to put all your things and get things locked up and dried in, or maybe like me, there's a professional use. We're going to build a little out office or just to get out of the house and have your stuff kind of squirreled away and organized like that. You can't beat the value of a pole barn. It goes up quickly. They're so durable. They can be made beautiful. There's so many design options nowadays to really dress them up and make them look like they fit there on your property. The key is getting your design right, and that's where All-American comes in from the very beginning. I mean, these guys are going to get you a set of stamp plans that can be used, of course. Sometimes in the early stages of it, depending on where you live, you're going to need some zoning or some approval from some local government, or maybe if you're borrowing on the project, you're going to need something to present the lender. All that stuff they can provide for you in an official way. And when you're ready, when you've got everything on go, they will start producing that building here in Alabama with their own manufacturing facilities, controlling the entire supply chain on it. They down to the screws that hold the steel on the building. They've got all of it. The insulation, the door and window packages, all of it brought to you on their trucks over at All-American. These are great folks. 2 generations been doing steel projects since the 1960s, and I've told you repeatedly, these residential type projects like I have and some of y'all have ordered through All-American are not even the biggest part of their business. They can build giant warehouses. They can do retail build outs. If you got a storefront or something that you've got to get done, some interior space with steel, they can handle that for you too. And then of course, there's all the other things. It's multi-unit storage. Some people want to invest in those things nowadays. Y'all reach out to them and let them help you. It's All-American Metals, aa-metal.com, aa-metal.com. Well, I keep putting the beauty shots on different little things right here around Golden, and one of the things I'm looking for in that shot that I've got up now is I've watched these paragliders on top of that big hill, and I need to research what the name of that little mountain is called. But every now and then you'll see these paragliders, and I think weather like today, AJ was asking about the heat out here. It is rather warm for these folks. They're still under kind of a heat wave out here, and so it's perfect weather with those thermals and those updrafts coming up the side of those hills. So these guys will just launch off that thing. It's uniquely that big mountain right there that kind of towers, and that's not a big mountain. We're in the Rockies, so they'd call it a hill. That's probably about as big as Oak Mountain. But they've got this giant letter M randomly up on the hill, and you can see it in the daytime. It looks like it's made out of rocks, I guess, and it's kind of one of those university block letter M's. And at night, they've got it trimmed out in lights, and it's all lit up, and it just kind of looks like a letter M in the sky, in the dark sky up there. And so naturally, you wonder what that's about. We could all make up stories about what the letter M would stand for, but it's mining. They've got a mining college here that teaches a lot of geology and mining techniques, and it's such a big part of the founding of this area. I can't quite see it with that camera angle, though. I was trying to get to it. But there are kind of some trees a little bit too close for me to get too zoomed in on it. But it's really kind of a neat thing, just pointing out some nuances about how they do things out here in Golden, Colorado. I'll tell you what I'll do. I just want to stay with this for a minute. I'll switch back to the Clear Creek floaters. So there they go, floating in through there, bumping their butts. You got to come do this sometime, AJ. That water's cold, but when it's this hot out there, man, there's nothing like a mountain stream, man. I'm all about it. Fly fishing, standing in it, swimming in it, whatever. Very nice stuff. All right, let me get to some more headlines. Don't want to neglect that too much. It is a relatively hard news week, some pretty serious stuff. Let me go to this New York story. 2 stories out of New York today. The moron that tried to set fire to the federal building or whatever he was trying to do. By the way, one of the people this idiot injured is actually a foreigner. I'm not sure if this person's trying to immigrate here. It happened to be near that building. This dude killed an immigrant, damn near killed an immigrant by setting this fire today and creating all that hazard. That's just insane. But the other story out of New York is Mamdani and his mouth. And this childlike mayor that they've elected, and absurdly, with these absurd, antiquated, dead ideas, is now threatening to have Benjamin Netanyahu arrested if he comes to New York City. And he first started chest thumping over this issue when he was running for mayor, and everybody kind of laughed at him. It just looked like he was trying to be a little tough talker. But now the dude got elected mayor, and I suppose has power. He doesn't have the authority. There's a difference between authority and power. But he has the power to order his police force to perhaps interdict the Israeli delegation should Netanyahu come to speak to the UN, as he frequently does. So let's talk about this for a minute. So the Trump administration felt the need to have to respond to this because it was getting so much attention this morning. So this guy says that Netanyahu will be arrested for international war crimes. He is citing the International Criminal Code, or whatever the tribunal is, who also repeatedly always indicts and calls out all these Islamic terror groups. You never hear Mamdani talking about any of that, but he's suddenly they're an authority when it comes to Netanyahu. So that's the predicate upon which he would base some kind of arrest charges. So the president today, President Trump, had to put a statement out, and I'll paraphrase, I don't have it right in front of me, basically saying, no, nobody's going to arrest Netanyahu in New York City if he wants to come to New York City. And so it's created this idea, and I think a lot of it is media hype, but this idea of a standoff between the Trump administration and this Mamdani character. Now, this is exactly what Mamdani wants. I mean, this is exactly what he wants. He wants that kind of standoff. It's what all these revolutionaries fantasize about and crave when they're talking all their smack. So, and I kind of hope he tries it, because he will instantly, I mean, I'm not trying to be a federal expert on federal law, but I can think of 3 areas of federal law right off the bat that he would be violating should he try to interdict Netanyahu. We're technically at wartime, and Israel, whether they like it or not, is also an ally in that situation, both with intelligence and military operations. And this guy would be in violation of so many wartime regulations, not to mention acts of committing an act of foreign policy, which would be against. And plus, a mayor in a city in the United States has no authority to affect any kind of quote international law or anything accordingly. That is federal jurisdiction at best, and this guy would be presuming that power. I hope this little cocky SOB continues down this path, because he could wind up being arrested himself. And I'll guarantee you the Trump administration will arrest this twerp. I will promise you that. So let's see how that shows down. It's something that kind of popped up in the news today. And I thought it was I really did. I thought it was a little bit of media hype. And then the fool doubled down on it this afternoon. He said it again to some people that were talking to him. So he's going to get what's coming to him because of just arrogance and pure ignorance. And I mean, this is a Nepo baby who's been in this country 8 years. He's not originally an American citizen, and he's lecturing us on our way of life and international codes and war, and what a fool. Dude never had a job. Y'all know this about you. Most of us don't know much of his history. He has never been employed. The closest he came to running anything, his mommy paid for a rap video that he put out at some point. I don't know what the album was called. I'm a mama's boy, soy bitch or something. I don't know what it was called. But yeah, he put a rap album out, and and these idiots in New York made him mayor. Well, let's put it this way. These foreigners in New York made him mayor because they now dominate elections in that once fine city. It's amazing. Homeless camps popping up all over the place. Crime is starting to be back on the rise. They're going to get what's coming to them in New York, and I hate that. All right, top of the hour, 1819 News. We'll be back in a minute. Leland Live. Y'all stay tuned. Live in Golden, Colorado.